the more unfettered the capitalist domination is, the capitalist abuse is, to make sure you can't possibly push back against all the garbage he's putting into play. Talk about how these police reforms have not actually happened. Yeah, I mean, the police reforms are small to begin with, but they list some of them in this article. That in Georgia, lawmakers rolled back 2018 criminal justice reforms, which were supported by Republicans, and added cash bail requirements for 30 new crimes this year. They're actually increasing policing. I mean, and Cornel West called it. They said the movement was co-opted, and it absolutely was. But basically, the capitalist entity that rules this country, the corporate American monstrosity that is at the top of things, it knows how to take a protest movement and turn it back in on itself and make sure it doesn't result in any large-scale change. You did not see large-scale changing in policing. You maybe saw a few cops moved around here or there. We'll decrease the number of police maybe in a school somewhere, and we'll throw that bone. But you're not going to see this large scale, not without endless protesting, endless fighting to change the system. But also it comes to the root of capitalism. If you are going to have a system where it is a tiny number of individuals so egregiously rich that they could buy your parents and grandparents for what they consider to be a couple of dollars, they could buy your life from you. They're so goddamn rich. If you have a system like that, well, guess what? You got to protect that status quo. And you can't do it just by asking nicely. You got to do it with tsunamis of propaganda and armed guards on every corner. That's what our policing system is. It's armed guards to keep this class system in place, and to make sure in these moments where people do stand up and they do say, hey, we're gonna change the policing system. Well, no, you're not. Not unless you actually uproot the entirety of this capitalist domination will you see a change in the policing system. And that's why the United States, which is perhaps the most ravenous capitalist system in the world, has the largest police force in the world. The more unfettered the capitalist domination is, the capitalist abuse is, the larger the police force has to be. So we've got a police force that's essentially one of the largest armies in the world, armed on every corner. Most countries don't even have armed police, or don't have them regularly walking around. They may have them for rare moments, but and then you look at certain countries like Denmark and Switzerland, and the average number of people killed per year by police is often 0, sometimes 1 person killed by police. In the United States, we're averaging 1,200, 1,300 people, and it's actually double that, according to the Lancet Medical Journal, because most of the time that people are killed by police, it doesn't go down as killed by police. When they strangle someone, suffocate them, and it's not on video, guess what? They had a heart attack, right? They weren't strangled. They didn't kneel on their neck for 9 minutes. And anyway, I could keep going through the list. Big surprise down in Florida. Ron DeSantis has championed and signed several bills into law related to police. Those measures include anti-rioting law, which means anti-protesting, to make sure you can't possibly push back against all the garbage he's putting into play. Anti-rioting law that may curtail protests, which is currently embroiled in legal challenges. Here's a quote from DeSantis. We saw a really unexpected disorder and rioting throughout the summer of 2020. He means people demanding that cops stop killing them. That's disorder and rioting. You notice that all of this is linguistics, right? You notice when people are effectively abused, held down, scared to go out and protest, scared to stand outside their house, scared to do anything, that's what he calls, Ron DeSantis, all the Republicans, all the liberals, all the people in power, the ruling elite, all the rich, that's what they call order. That's when things are orderly. When you're scared and you stay home and you don't stand back and you don't fight back and you don't stop the oil pipelines and you don't stop the military weapons contractors, that's called order. When you do those things, when you do fight back, when you do try and stop the pipelines and try and stop the weapons contractors and try and stop the genocide, that's called disorder. See how they play with the words? Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, Eleanor opening the show. You get to hear her amazing voice, and then a full hour of brand new comedy. I promise you've never heard it. I offer to give your money back. I've offered to tie your $5 to a brick and throw it through your window if you do not have a good time and do not like the show. And so we already did the first show and no one has asked for their money back. 0 so far. So I think you really enjoy it. Really like it.